Hello, I'm Kimberlie Acosta. Welcome to the Native News Update. It's Friday, September 23rd. Many of the stories you hear here can be found at our website, IndianCountryNews.com. And here's the news for the day from the Associated Press and other Native news sources. A new law on the Fort Berthold Reservation for highway safety enables 3 affiliated tribes' law enforcement officers to stop and cite non-Indians who violate state and tribal traffic laws. Last month, the 3 affiliated tribes' business council unanimously adopted a civil motor vehicle code. And last week, by special resolution, the Tribal Business Council unanimously approved to vigorously enforce that civil motor vehicle code. The resolution, entitled the Gracie May Fox, Layla April Little Owl, Sarah Johnson, and Ross Little Owl Special Resolution for the Enforcement of Tribal Motor Vehicle Laws, will enhance enforcement against motor vehicle operators on the reservation. The family of 4 died as the result of a September 11th head-on oil truck pickup truck collision on North Dakota Highway 22 near Mandaree. An Eastern Washington man who pleaded guilty to stealing from the Coeur d'Alene tribe faces up to 5 years in prison at his January sentencing. Police say 23-year-old Samuel Allman IV of Spokane, Washington, stole money from several cash registers at a tribal-owned store 2 years ago in Plummer, Idaho. The case went unsolved until police found a pair of shorts in an alley next to Benowa Market, and a DNA testing later determined that the clothing had been worn by Allman. Police say footage from a surveillance video at the store also confirmed Allman had been wearing the shorts during the robbery. The U.S. Attorney's Office in Idaho says he will be sentenced January 10th after pleading guilty September 20th to a charge of theft from an Indian tribal organization. Maine officials are apologizing to the Penobscot Nation for a surprise bus inspection conducted by state police on tribal land. Tribal officials said the reservation's sovereignty was violated when Maine State Police boarded 9 buses without notice, taking people to high-stakes bingo games 2 weekends ago. Public Safety Commissioner John Morris, the head of the Maine State Police, and other state officials met with tribal officials September 20th on Indian Island to discuss the matter. The Bangor Daily News reported that the state officials, in joint statement with the tribe, said they recognize and respect the tribe's sovereign status and that the bus inspections didn't reflect any negative attitude toward the tribe or its bingo operation. The statement said the state and tribe will work together toward a more collaborative relationship. A recent court decision in favor of the Samish Nation could pave the way for it to receive money from the years after its federal recognition was dropped and before it was reinstated. The decision, issued September 20th by the Federal Circuit of the U.S. Court of Appeals, reverses part of an earlier ruling by the lower U.S. Court of Federal Claims. The Samish Nation was left off a list of federally recognized tribes in the 1960s, but didn't realize the oversight until 1973. Recognition comes with funding from the federal government to pay for things such as education, human services, and health care. The tribes filed numerous lawsuits and spent years in litigation, finally winning recognition in 1996, but they are still trying to recoup federal money to which they believe they are entitled. The federal court decision partially affirmed that of the lower court, saying that the tribe wouldn't be entitled to reimbursement of some program funds. The tribe said a similar disappointment federal court decision in the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals, when in 2010 the court ruled that the tribe does not have commercial fishing rights off the reservation. However, tribal chairman Tom Wooten said the finality of the latest decision provided a comforting closure to the issue. He hopes the recognition issue will come to a close now as well. New Brunswick's Passamaquoddy are using new evidence to back up their pitch to Ottawa for official recognition as a First Nation. They have been denied First Nation status by the Canadian government despite repeated attempts. The Passamaquoddy also have 2 reserves on the Maine side of the border. Mika Powling, a researcher, has spent years tracking down documents about Passamaquoddy land claims in both the United States and Canada. The professor at Bates College in Maine said there is ample evidence of at least 3 reserves set aside in New Brunswick's Charlotte County in the 19th and early 20th centuries. Powling said the Passamaquoddy homeland extended up both sides of the St. Croix River as settlers began to take over their land. As the settlers were creating their new communities, the Passamaquoddy sent written appeals to the governments on both sides of the Canada-United States border. That information provided by Powling will be used to reinforce the group's ongoing fight for official recognition by the Canadian government. A ceremony was held to recognize a possible American Indian burial ground in Brantford, Connecticut that was uncovered by Hurricane Irene. Authorities said erosion caused by the storm last month left human bones protruding from an embankment. The bones were discovered by residents and taken to the medical examiner's office, which confirmed the remains are human. The Native American Heritage Advisory Council held a ceremony September 22nd at the site of the recovery. Brantford Police and the town's engineer, Janice Plaziak, has worked with archaeologists and the Advisory Council to maintain the integrity of the site while authorities determine how to return it to its pre-storm condition. In dozens of camps along Lake Coeur d'Alene and the Spokane River, the Coeur d'Alene used stone tools to pound and grind meat, berries, and roots. The handmade tools would be left in the water where they would continue to be shaped by the flow. Dozens of the tools were used by families on the tribe's Aboriginal land dating to ancient times, said Cliff St. John, the Coeur d'Alene tribe's Cultural Awareness Director. Since the tribe stopped using the lands, numerous artifacts have been picked up by visitors and kept as souvenirs. 2 such items recently were returned to the tribe by a Spokane Valley woman who said the artifacts had been in her husband's family for more than 80 years. During a recent visit with her daughter to the tribe's casino and hotel, Marilyn Clausen saw the elaborate display of artifacts and crafts and said she knew what needed to be done with the mortar and pestle that had been kept for years on her husband's family farm between Colfax and Pullman. Clausen said she didn't know how the mortar or pestle were acquired by her husband's family, whose farm is within the boundaries of the Coeur d'Alene tribal's traditional homeland. But she said her 87-year-old husband remembers seeing them in the house when he was a child. And that's another roundup of news from Indian Country on this edition of the Native News Update. I'd like to thank you for joining me and have a grand day.